Laiva is the biggest gold mill in Europe. It's potentially 4 million ounces when the boys do more drilling. It's fully built. It's ready to turn on in a tier 1 mining jurisdiction in Finland. So
working on everything that's needed to do to get back into production.
But where can you find a mill of this size fully built with massive upside to the resource?
So 50,000 ounces is the initial target.
The valuation is 170 million fully diluted pre-money for a business that would cost you probably 700 to 800 million Canadian to build today. You know, the listings come in over these next sort of 6 weeks. So you're getting a chance now to get involved pre-IPO. Just click on the more button under Stein's video here. Click on the link, leave your name, your email, if you like, your phone number. Ed, Max, Eric, Jamila, Jennifer, myself and Jim happily get on the phone, tell you more about this beautiful story.
Today we're having a chat with Jeremy Gray and Jim Jackson of Laiva Gold. Gentlemen, great to have you back on the channel again, also with a name that we've had on the channel before, and some exciting updates to go through, a new resource estimate imminently, and of course the listing hopefully to be completed imminently. But gentlemen, before we dive into all that, Jeremy, I would love to first give the word to you, to anyone watching who might not be familiar with Laiva. What is the company all about?
Laiva is the biggest gold mill in Europe, Stein. It's potentially 4 million ounces when the boys do more drilling. It's fully built. It's ready to turn on. It's the most exciting gold development new mine in Europe, and in a tier 1 mining jurisdiction in Finland. So team's on site, Jim's on site, everything's looking great to restart in the summer of next year. And couldn't be more excited about Laiva Gold and where it's heading over these next 12 months.
And for sure, very excited to dive into the details with Jim. But Jeremy, just a bit more detail on what type of asset are we talking about? Of course, we have the plant and there's a resource in place. Can you take us through the numbers?
Yeah, and Stein, you and Lars, you came to site a few years ago. You've seen this plant was built in 2012 by Nordic Mines. It's a 6,000 tonne a day operation, potential to expand to 10,000 tonnes a day, and Jim's put the application in for that expansion. It's basically completely built and ready to turn on. It's got a 2 million ounce resource by SRK, modelled back when gold was $1,200 an ounce. But I'm convinced that with further drilling and deeper drilling, this will be much bigger than Rupert Resources that had just recently been acquired by Agnico Eagle for, I think, nearly close to 2.5 billion Canadian. So we're at a fraction, less than 1/15 of that valuation. But the big difference is that we actually have the mill and we're ready to turn on, and they're just a project 400 miles up further north in Finland where it gets to minus 40 degrees in the winter. It gets pretty cold up there, Jim, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gets very cold a bit further north. It's surprising in Finland. You don't have to go very far to get big temperature drops. Like where we're from, Jeremy and I from in Australia, a couple hundred Ks, you don't notice the difference in the temperature. But in Finland, a couple hundred Ks will drop 10 degrees.
And Jim, I would love to talk about the mine, how it is currently standing. What have you been working on in the meantime? We hinted at a potential new resource estimate imminently coming in. And how much leverage does this gold mine actually provide to the gold price?
Yeah, exactly, Stein. We've been working on everything that's needed to do to get back into production. So we've been upgrading our tailings facilities. The guys have been in the mill, starting to do some of the basic maintenance in the mill. We've been ordering the components for the crusher. We've had Metso Autotech on site looking at the operation. They've gone through and done a complete breakdown of what needs to be done to get back into production, which we're working through the list. And also some upgrades that they've recommended to get some better recoveries and some better throughputs. So that's all in the pipeline being worked on at the moment. We've also got our own, we bought a RC rig, a Leopard RC rig from Sandvik. So we're doing our RC grey control drilling at the moment. So far we've completed just a touch over 11,000 metres of RC drilling. We've probably got about 9,000 of those metres have been through the lab and tested, and it takes around 3 weeks from when it leaves the drill pad to when we get the results back from the lab. So as we get those results back in, they'll be built into the new model. At the moment, we're drilling around the top of the North Pit. We're just about finished at the top there. From there, we're going to run across to our 2 million tonne low-grade stockpile. And we're going to punch some holes through the low-grade stockpile to give us a really good idea of what the grades are like in there. And then we'll head down into the North Pit where the bigger concentrations of the swarms of veins are, which will give us some really nice results, I'm sure.
Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of de-risking has occurred over the last little while, like you outlined on the tailing side, on the plant side as well, trying to make sure everything's ready for a restart, and also on the grade control drilling. Of course, if you have a better understanding of where your gold is specifically at, operationally, you could have less dilution when you actually go into a mining scenario, have a higher grade when it goes into the mill, a lower cost and a higher production.
Exactly right, Stein. Exactly right. So Apex Geoscience have been working closely with our guys to build a new mine plan, a new model, and they'll also, as these new results come in, they'll also be updating the resource.
And in a mining scenario, once the mine restarts in summer 2027, how quickly could it ramp up to nameplate capacity, and how many ounces a year should that really equate to?
Well, that's something we're doing at the moment. The two bottlenecks that's hindered the plant from getting to nameplate previously is on the grinding side. The mills have had trouble producing enough fines for the plant. And then the main bottleneck's been the tailings pipeline. So for some reason, they haven't been able to get more than 5,000 tonnes a day through the tailings pipeline. Look at the numbers, and engineers will tell you it should be getting 6, but it just doesn't. So we've had the consultants in previously. They've made a new design. What we need to do is add another pump and duplicate a small section of the pipeline, and that'll comfortably get us to that 6,000 tonnes a day through the pipeline. As far as on the crushing side of things, previously they've installed a mobile crushing plant to help the mills, and just with that addition, they've been able to max out the tailings pipeline. So we've Metso Autotech have been on site, and they've given us a price also to put a fixed plant in to do that pre-crushing for us. But initially, we'll probably save the capital and just use the mobile plant. And then when we're up and running, we'll go the whole Monty and put the fixed plant in from Metso. So sorry, a bit of a long answer, but basically, right from the get-go, we should be able to be hitting nameplate once your basic commissioning is over, so a month or two.
Wow, that is incredible. And of course, nameplate capacity when you're doing 6,000 tons a day, type of grade, I believe, is near 1 gram a ton. So you should be producing quite a few ounces a day, and therefore also quite a few ounces a year.
Yeah, for sure. So 50,000 ounces is the initial target. Once we get the final mine plan done, the final modelling done, we'll have a bit better grasp on those numbers, because needs to be a little bit of tidying up done around the top of the pits in the first few months before we can really get into that nice consistent grade.
And when we talk about leverage to the gold price, how are you thinking about cost over at Laiva Gold Mine? Do you think you'll be able to achieve a high margin business there?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure, Stein. Yeah, for sure. We're looking at, because we've had so much time to look right into the logistics of it all, and what combination works better, whether we're going to use contract mining or owner mining, we'll be able to maximise the margins right from the get-go.
I mean, just to give you an idea, Stein, I think at the current prices of $4,000 an ounce, and as you know, we think we're going to head to $7,000 an ounce by Christmas of this year. The margin's well over $2,000 an ounce at today's price of $4,000. So very, very profitable business. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, when we do list Laiva, that it will be a prime takeover target. A prime takeover target. You already saw Agnico go after Rupert and up in that district. I know Laiva turned down a takeover bid last year from another group, but where can you find a mill of this size in primetime Europe, tier 1 jurisdiction, fully built, with massive upside to the resource? So, the listings come in over these next sort of 6 weeks. So you're getting a chance now to get involved pre-IPO, that a stock will be trading in these in very near term. And as you know, Stein, we have a really growing form now for listing our gold companies. Gold Road, you've been to Gold Road, that listed in Oslo 2 months ago, and under Svein Harold and Nils' leadership. Tucano Gold, which is now Amapa Minerals, is listing next week, primary listing on the TSX. That's the beautiful mine in northern Brazil. You've been to Amapa Minerals 2 years ago, and that's going to be $1 billion market cap. We're about to announce Pilar Gold's partner on the NASDAQ, and that's very exciting news with Pilar. And now Laiva is listing as well. And what a time to be bringing on such a world-class asset in Europe, in I think what's going to be a huge gold bull market in the next 6 months.
Exciting for sure, Jeremy. And you mentioned, of course, that Laiva Gold should be listing over the next few weeks to 2 months. Why has the listing taken a bit longer, well, significantly longer actually, than expected?
Well, it's a very good question because it's I think that the main reason was the market did sell off from the January peak of 5,600, and it took the wind out of the sail for the team in terms of, and I think they just really honestly made the right decision to wait, not go into a market that where you don't go outside when it's pouring down with rain. You wait for the sun to come, and now that the clouds are cleared. And I think this is the perfect time to go public now rather than probably 2 or 3 months ago, where I think the response would have been a lot less enthusiastic. But no, I think it's the right decision by the management to wait. And Jim's, I think now in a great position.
Oh no, for sure, Jeremy, because the gold's been there for millions of years. It's not going anywhere, and it's given us the opportunity to make sure when we do get going that we'll hit the ground running.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, if Jeremy is correct, then there's going to be a next leg higher in gold, and then of course ramping up production while that occurs or after that has occurred is a greater timing than before. So understand that rationale. Now, Jeremy mentioned earlier there's a financing ongoing right now. Perhaps you can talk us through a bit more of the details. How much are you raising, at what valuation, and what will the money go towards?
Yeah, it's a very limited window here because we're listed in the next 6 weeks. It's a 5 million Canadian raise. So it's first come, first serve. The valuation is 170 million fully diluted pre-money. That's Canadian, mind you, for a business that would cost you probably 700 to 800 million Canadian to build today. It has, I think, 4 million ounces in the ground potential resource, but at the moment 2 million ounces, which is $8 billion of gold. So, a really big potential upside next year as we go into production and as the market continues to improve.
Excellent, Jeremy. And of course, like you mentioned, there's a short window of time for anyone watching to potentially participate. So how can anyone watching reach out to the company and potentially participate in Laiva Gold before the IPO occurs?
Yeah, definitely. Just click on the More button under Stein's video here. Leave your name, your email, if you like, your phone number. Ed, Max, Eric, Jamila, Jennifer, myself and Jim happily get on the phone, tell you more about this beautiful story. We're very blessed, Stein, that we have over 2,500 investors in our 6 companies. A lot of our investors are invested in all 6. Many are new to our business, our group. I always say we're the fastest growing gold mining group in the world that no one's ever heard of. And I love that fact. But you found us, and so just click on the link, and we will very happily tell you what we're doing at Laiva and how excited we are generally with what we're in the whole group. But also, Laiva particularly is a very special story. So look forward to talking to you.
Excellent, Jeremy. And Jim, I would love to also ask you regarding the environmental permit, which we've heard a lot of news releases about, of course. Perhaps you can shortly update us. What is the status with the environmental permit, and could Laiva Gold be in production right now if it wanted to?
Yeah, for sure, Stein. Our environmental permit is intact, and we could turn the mill on right now if we wanted to. But just on top of that, just to expand a little bit, we are applying for an expanded environmental license, which will allow us to expand the operation going forward. And we expect to have that work complete early in the new year, maybe January or February, and then have that submitted on top of our existing environmental license, which will give us more capacity, more tons to be able to mine, so that we'll be ready to expand the operation.
It's a great question, Stein, because let's be honest, this mill should be expanded so that Jim can get this to 100,000 ounces a year. And that's really where the business is heading over the next 3, 4, 5 years. Don't you think, Jim?
Yes, for sure, without a doubt.
Perhaps then we can also shortly talk about the blue sky potential and the catalyst that you're seeing, Jim. So how do you really think about the long-term value proposition for Laiva Gold at expanding into production and what the blue sky potential would be?
Well, that's why they probably call it blue sky, don't they? How far do you want to go? The resource is obviously there. The SRK has already come up with, actually it's over 2 million ounces in there when they did their report. That's what's on the existing drilling. And we know that the resource expands in 3 directions and as well as down, as well as much deeper. So this will be something that the company will be doing very soon. We'll be getting a diamond rig going and start to bring some more into the M&I category and also expand the resource. And that's going to be happening quite quickly. We've also spoken to, probably not one of Jeremy's favourite subjects, but we've had some trials done by the 2 ore sorting companies, which the results have been very positive. So again, this technology is moving very rapidly forward. And so that's something we're planning on doing as well, also increasing the grade. So this is why it's important to expand the parameters of our permit so that we can start mining more material and producing more ounces at the back end. And whether that's with the assist of ore sorting or not, that's going to happen.
Perfect. Well, it's a very exciting future for sure. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no worries. It's been lovely to catch up with you again.
Thanks, Don. You're the best, mate.